All right, guys. I want to thank you guys that are here. We should have more people trickling in. It had been some time, and me and Javi were talking about it, and I had told Javi like, man, we need to do a Zoom. We've been rocking it in the office, and all the LOs been kicking butt. Like, as you guys know, like, Carlito, Ari, Paul, everybody in there, Matt, everybody working it. So I was like, man, Javi, they haven't seen your face. Any of the newer agents or any of the older agents that just didn't see your face, it's good to be in front of them. And something that I see, and now that we've been closing more than ever, but we've also been having more issues than ever, it being COVID extensions, underwriting being backed up. I was like, we need to get in there, pass out the information. We don't have to make this long. I just want to hit on the core topics. I don't want to drag it on, let's say a Zoom. Because a lot of times they'll check out. So just give us the real. What's the status right now on closings, extensions, delays, and then on the positive side, how are the rates kind of thing helping, and what do you see kind of in the market? So take it over.
Awesome, George. Thank you. And to the Lifestyle family, thank you guys for jumping on board. I always try to bring as much awareness as possible of what's going on with the economy and the market and what's going on with the current scenario. Obviously, we had such a drastic situation happen in our economy, so I'm glad that George, we thought of doing the Zoom call. What's really been happening, obviously, and for you guys to really understand what's happening. So COVID is near us, guys. COVID is everywhere. Living in Miami, in one of the most major cities where COVID has impacted, has also taken a toll on everybody. So I'm going to touch base on a few things. The most important thing that I'm going to touch base on is how it's affected underwriting. And that's pretty much been the biggest factor and the biggest determining factor of what's caused so many challenges and delays. And I'll give you guys numbers on my end. An average underwriter touches about 4 to 5 files a day. A file takes about 2 hours to underwrite, I'd say. So an easy file she could touch quicker than 2 hours, but on average, we're at about 2 hours for an underwriter to touch a file. So a regular 8, 9, 10-hour day that underwriters put in, you're looking at 4 to 5 max. Now with COVID and the new regulations, my underwriters are touching 2 to 3 files a day, just so you could get an idea. So why is that? And I'll explain to you a little more. So the borrower that was able to finance a property 2, 3 months, 4 months ago, before April, that was self-employed, now is getting scrutinized a little deeper. Okay. And why is that? So the biggest concern with COVID right now is that business stops running. Okay. And that's what's causing everybody to check and double check even more. So on the self-employed sector, any borrower that has a business, or any borrower that even you guys as agents, anybody that's a Schedule C, receives a 1099, or has a business and receives K1s or 1120s, they have to be scrutinized a little deeper to confirm that their business has not been affected by COVID. So now we are asking to verify with a profit and loss statement and with 2-month bank statements, most recent ones, and make sure they match. And what happens? Let's say you're a borrower that makes $10,000 a month, $120,000 a year. And all of a sudden, we're going back to the last 2-month business bank statements, or the last 2-month personal statements, if you're a Schedule C or a real estate agent in your example, and you don't have $10,000 a month in deposits. Now is a challenge. Now it comes to the question of what's going on. Did this person's business get affected by COVID? Do we have a challenge where they're not going to be able to make the payments? And that's the big question at hand. Nobody wants to give bad loans in the industry. Everybody wants to close loans, but nobody wants to close bad loans. So what's happening is a lot of borrowers were purchasing properties and then going straight into forbearance. Okay. For a bank to recuperate the money that they invest into a transaction, it takes them 3 years. Okay. It takes 3 years for a lender to recuperate the investment that they do giving money out to a borrower to purchase a property. So if you're already going into forbearance, or you're already showing signs that your business is going down and you might have a foreclosure or a short sale like many people know of, or already a challenge, you have to take some measures to make sure that you're giving good loans. Okay. And that's how the banks, that's how Fannie Mae, that's how all the lenders out there have put in place rules to make sure that these self-employed borrowers are a little bit more verified. And in Miami, with so many small businesses, the verification is that we're checking 2-month bank statements right there, the moment of closing, and it has to match the deposits of what it was last year and the year before if we're going 2 years taxes, guys. So that's been the biggest challenge. And that's why underwriters are now underwriting 2 to 3 files a day instead of 4 to 5. So what happened? Now all of a sudden underwriters are underwriting 2 to 3 files a day. So now all of a sudden underwriting turnaround times go from 72 hours, which is the norm, 2 to 3 days to get a loan underwritten, to now 2 weeks. Guys, we almost got to 2.5, 3 weeks in underwriting just because of this delay. Okay, so that has been the biggest challenge. The self-employed borrowers have been giving us the most work to do, and it's triple the work now just to make sure that their business hasn't gone down.
Javi, what have you seen with like furloughed employee? I mean, for the most part, we haven't had a lot of those. At first, we did when it first hit, but we're not seeing a lot of people are working again. What have they done if they got furloughed for 2 3 weeks and they're back at work? Is it affecting them because they still buy a house?
Yeah, George. So I think the dust has settled, like you just said. So I think most people are back to work. Most people are working their regular 40 hours. So to touch base on the employed borrowers, we do have to verify that their income as well hasn't gone down, that they're doing their full hours. So same concept, same idea. If you're self-employed, we got to make sure your business hasn't gone down. If you're an employee, then we got to make sure you're still making the same income. You're still working your 40 hours or your whatever hours that it is that we're verifying, especially with overtime now, a big challenge as well, because a lot of people's overtime hours got cut, or a lot of their overtime hours now don't average out to what it was the year before or the year prior to that. So that's very important. Another thing I want to touch base on, George, and it's something that actually just happened to us now. Guys, be careful with your borrowers going into any type of forbearance with anything. Either it is with a current mortgage or even with a current car payment. Okay? Any type of forbearance could affect the transaction. I'm not going to go into details of a scenario, but any type of forbearance will affect the transaction in a negative way, very much likely, especially if you already own a house and you're buying another one, which we're seeing a lot. We're seeing so many people approach us and tell us, hey, I live in a 2-bedroom house, 3-bedroom house. I have 3 kids. I don't have a space for an office. I don't have space for my kids to go out and play. I want to upgrade. Just make sure that those borrowers that want to upgrade are not doing any forbearance in their current mortgage. Very important.
And let me ask you this as well, and that's a great thing, and I've seen people get back to it. What have you seen on, like right now we have a deal that's going on and we're getting extension. We got our listing agents extending a lot easier with this COVID thing, or are they now starting to get back to the old Wild Wild West?
Yeah. So George, obviously, you have different personalities in every transaction, and that's what I say is a blessing in our business. Every transaction is different. Listing agents are being challenging, and a lot of times I'm making the phone call now. Hey, look, COVID is, guys. You can't just go into a restaurant like you did before without a mask on and have dinner, right? So understand, COVID is real. Just like a restaurant is being affected, just like your grocery store is being affected, the mortgage industry, the real estate industry is being affected. I'm sure you guys aren't able to show the same amount of properties as before for the simple fact that some people are scared of having random strangers into their house and giving them COVID. So it's the same idea, it's the same concept. I'm doing my best to educate these listing agents on the other side of any transaction that there are delays right now, that there are challenges. I'm doing my best also to tell buyers agents now, hey guys, 45-day contracts. That's important right now. Right now, with everything going on, 45-day contracts are a must. And again, it's something that the dust has settled a bit. I staffed up in the Dadeland different side. George, you already know very well. We hired 3 underwriters now, guys. So now we have a total of 3 underwriters and a junior underwriter. So we have 4 underwriters now. So this delay of underwriting that just occurred to us will never happen again, and that I could guarantee you. It was definitely an unexpected situation for everyone. I think everybody's life has been turned upside down due to this COVID situation. So that's something that we got to make aware of.
And let me ask you on the verification of employment, and I guess you could kind of explain it quickly. Are they going more in depth about, have you guys working? Are you guys closed? Are they going in depth of the questions, or are they just saying, is he working yet? How in depth are they getting?
Yeah, George. So the verification of employment, the main thing is the hours. That's what we're looking at. For any employee that hasn't had a major hourly decrease, or if they did have some time off, we want it explained. We want to make sure that it's something that's not expected to happen in the near future. But really, guys, that what's going to happen now is data. Data is going to really affect us, tell us what the next steps are. We all know COVID is spiking again. As you know, I'm sure many of you know, July 4th weekend now, many of the beaches and parks
Shh.
are closed.
You don't say those words.
So, I mean, it's just the sad, it's the truth. You put on any news station and they're screaming that out. It's crazy to see. You're not seeing the deaths, but you're seeing the COVID spike.
Well, don't tell you might get Hector chiming in there, and if Rick Garcia was here, we would have to mute this chat and turn it off because we'll get too political over here. But
Yeah, no, no,
let Hector lie. Let Hector lie there.
I'm not gonna talk about the aspect of the political side. I know everybody has their own opinion on it. I have my own opinion on it. I'm just telling you how it's affecting the industry.
That's perfect. There.
I,
Um,
my
Actually, Javier, let me jump back in and change the subject. But let me ask you, I know you had it before or you had it. Right now, let's just say they did get furlough, but the other is, let's just say they close their business, like they're just in a business that closed down. Let's just say they worked in Miami Beach tourism, whatever the case may be, or sir, what if they have the money? Maybe they had the business. Is there any loans right now, like a bank statement loan, or is it how creative could we get?
So George, you still have to verify the business is operating to do any type of bank statement loan or any type of conventional or FHA loan. So that would completely eliminate those options. The only option you would have there is a private mortgage or a hard money loan, as many of us call it.
You could help with that?
Yes, definitely.
All right.
We have.
If you have questions, please ask them. I'm thinking on the top of my head. How's appraisals going right now? Any difference in variance because of COVID?
Yeah, so and I see Dennis on this chat, which is great too, just in case I miss anything, Dennis. But some appraisers are still able to really fully function. We haven't had challenges with appraisals. We have had a couple of delays, really just because of the spike of business, guys. And I'll give you some numbers now, so you guys can understand how much business has tripled in the last 2 months. Um, but we are able to do drive-bys, which is good, I think, for many appraisers as well. I had a situation where somebody had COVID inside the house, and they're like, "I'm sorry, I think it's a bad idea for an appraiser to come to the house." And I'm like, "I agree, it is a bad idea." So doing drive-by appraisals, they take a few pictures of the outside. So again, I think the last Zoom we spoke about this a little bit. So just make sure that if you feel your property has, or if you feel that something will help your property, make sure you get that information out to the appraiser, so the appraiser knows the true condition of the interior of the property.
What are we looking at? How's the refis and how's the rates right now?
So George, that's what's causing, I mean, the spike. And it's funny because everybody's telling me, yeah, you guys are probably killing it with refis. Yes, we're killing it with purchases. It's incredible how many people are purchasing properties right now. And I think it's due to this COVID. I think comfort level, people want more comfort now. I think it's becoming more of where people are more prone to working from home. I'll give you an example. Just with our processors, we're probably going to not to come back to the office. Go work from home. So now if you're from home, we were so used to you coming into the office, and we thought we needed you in the office. We realized we really don't need you in the office. You might be more productive from home, and people are starting to realize that more and more. And I think that need of a home office, that need of a comfort of having your kids be able to jump in the pool and not drive you crazy, in a lot of situations, I think is something that a lot of people are looking into. So we actually closed. We had our biggest month last month ever, and it was 70% purchase. 68 point something. So that's incredible to think that, the rates are phenomenal. Yes, for refi or for purchases, as I'm seeing 2.99s, I'm seeing 3.25s, I'm seeing 3.5s. Everything I'm seeing is in the threes, unless it's an investment purchase or something out of the ordinary. But any primary, anything that's good credit scores, as the rates are amazing. When I tell you amazing, I hope it stays like this for as long as possible. But I don't think in the future we'll ever see rates this low again for a long time.
Another thing I wanted to ask, and I know Hector could probably chime in because I know him and Alex are working alone. What have you seen working marketing wise? And that's one of the great questions that everybody should be paying attention to. And Leslie does a great job with the firefighters. What kind of thing? I know Leslie does it like, hey, I cover your appraisal if you're a firefighter. I know we do it for like first responders, nurses, and doctors. We give them a credit. What's been working that you see them bringing the clients in? So maybe people could market to a certain demographic or their circle per se. Oh, hey, Hector, chime in here. Were you
Yeah,
good?
yeah. Actually, I have a question for Javi before we get into that, and we'll get into that here in a second. Javi, I have a question for you. What is the rate right now for private lending? Somebody's trying to get. I got a client looking for a house that's 895,000,
Mhm.
and they're. I know I see Sandra with the 10%. I've seen 10%. I've seen 8. I've seen 7.5. I've seen it all over the place, and I want to get a better idea from you what you're seeing on the private lending side.
Of course. So remember, private lending is and the ones I work with are individual persons. They're person like you and I. So it's a very emotionally driven decision. So for
Right.
example, if I love that house, and if I see that there's a future that if this person doesn't pay, I would want to keep that house. Then I would be more appealing to give a better rate. So every scenario is going to be different. I try to tell everybody expect and sound pretty on the money. Expect between 9 and 11. The best I've gotten has been 9 in the last 2 3 months. I have seen private investors though be less aggressive with their loan to values.
Yeah.
I was at 70%, and with every private investor I deal with about 5 different. And again, they're money guys. They're friends of mine. They have millions of dollars, and they're like, "Yeah, I'd rather give it to you and make a 9% or 10% than put it in the bank."
Put it in the
Um,
bank. Right.
and they're like, hey, instead of 70, I want to go down to 65%. I want to go down to 50% in some cases. So the main drastic change that I've seen has been the change of the loan to value. They are being a little bit less aggressive with the loan to value.
Okay. So George wanted me to touch on marketing. I think social media has been huge. I've gotten a lot of marketing done through social media. Um, if you see, I had 5 closings in the last week. And what I'm doing is instead of putting all 5 on social media in one day, I put one yesterday. I'm putting one today. I already did it this morning. I'll do one tomorrow. I'll do one on, I guess, Friday. And then on 4th of July, I'll put it again. And then on Monday, right? So 4th of July is this weekend. On Monday, I have a great marketing partner, my wife. She's in the other room in a call right now. She's going to put together a collage of everything I've done in the last month, right? This is where it's at. Social media is great, but you got to pick up the phone.
Yep.
You got to get on the phone, guys. I mean, I can't stress enough. And I haven't talked to George or Dennis or anything about what I'm telling you guys right now. This is my personal experience is 500 calls yielded 7 closings. 500 calls, text messages, and emails. Something as simple as the other day, I'll give you a perfect example. I had a family that dropped off right before COVID because they saw what was coming with the COVID and they said, we don't want to do anything. They were in Hutchinson Island and I was on vacation. And I just texted them, hey guys, I want to wish Mike a happy Father's Day. How are you doing? They're like, great. We want to start looking. Let's go look at this $800,000 house, which I'm not, going back and forth and sparring with Anthony Askowitz from Remax. So just a simple text message. Hey, happy Father's Day. ¿Cómo tú andas? Vamos tomando un cafecito. Vamos a comer una croquetica. Before you know it, you got them on the hook,
Yeah.
And the little deals, I hate people that say, no, I don't want to do the little deals. One of my closings next month is 170 grand. And they told me in 2 years, and they're buying cash, by the way. There's a $170,000 cash buyer. And then I just closed the deal for $850. And I'll tell you what, that $170,000 buyer, when I said, I'm so happy that we found the place. I'm happy that you guys are happy. I can't wait for the baby to come. They're like, listen, once the baby starts walking, which is in about 1.5 years because she's about 5 months pregnant, she says, we're going to need a house. We don't want a 2-story townhome anymore. I said, fine. We'll sell the townhouse or rent it, whatever works best for you financially. And then I'll find you a house. They've already got 300 grand put away for that house and they want to continue to buy cash.
Yeah.
That's their mentality. You have to adapt to your client and never make it about the commission. The moment you make this business about the commission, go find another job.
Yeah.
Okay. Do it by deal. So that's my 2 cents on that.
Thanks, Heck.
Don't mind, I'd love to intervene on that, Hector. That's amazing. I always say the same thing. Never count the dollars. You keep closing transactions, and the money will just come. So man, I'm with you. I want to touch base on something that actually I made my sales guys at PRMG do for us. So guys, if everybody grabs their phone, I know how to do it on iPhone. I know how to do it on Android. Okay, but if you go to your contacts and you scroll all the way in the bottom, okay, all the way. Okay, it'll tell you how many contacts you have. Okay. It was insane to see how many people had 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 contacts. And I sat there and I was like, man, if you don't have 5, 6, 7 transactions in the pipeline, you're just not calling your contacts. So how about you sit down, you pick up your phone, call all your friends, call all your buddies, your girlfriends, your friends from high school, your friends from college, and reach out to them. You'll be surprised how much business you'll get just from doing it. Well, Hector, I'm with you 100%, buddy.
Thank you. The other thing is, I'm guilty. I haven't done it, but I'm going to start doing it more and more now. You okay?
Yeah.
One of the things that I recommend, and I started doing it, and actually one of my leads came from it, was the text to group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The mass text. Because you do one text message, you don't have to sit there and send and send. You do one, and you send it to a group. George is big on that. George and Rick, guys, it works. I mean, there is no secret sauce in this business.
Everybody thinks, and I was part of that for a while until I started using text to group, where I would just like copy and paste a bunch of people. I was like, man, this is cheesy. But now people think that, and like on holidays, I don't even get 2-3 texts, and I have a big circle, so people have stopped doing it. So even if you think it's cheesy, do it, because nobody's doing it anymore. So on Father's Day, send it to everybody in group to text, and you're gonna get in communication, and you're gonna be fresh on people's brains. Even if your thing says Merry Christmas, okay, cool. Maybe you're one of the only 5 people, the only realtor out of the 100 people, the 10 people that sent them a Merry Christmas or Happy Father's Day and stuff like that. So don't think just because like, oh man, everybody's done this before and I get 10 of every holiday, that you shouldn't do it. So that's a good point.
Yeah, and don't make it about your holiday.
Yeah.
I have many Jewish friends. I have many Jewish, I have a family member that's married to somebody that's Jewish. And guess what? They get a Rosh Hashanah, and they get a happy Passover, and they get a happy this. And if they're black, and I know them from Carroll City, and they celebrate Kwanzaa, guess what? They're getting a happy Kwanzaa.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I agree. Actually, you have a question in the chat.
Yeah.
Mo, you answer. Rose, read it out because people aren't going to see it in the video.
Mo. So Mo asked, what happens if someone is losing some income due to COVID-19? Is it harder if someone is taking a big hit on their income? To answer that question, Mo, yes, 150%. It is harder for the simple reason that the underwriter is going to go off of worst case scenario. And we are going to want to verify that that business is going to continue running and that business hasn't been closed down or anything drastic like that. Again, the biggest scare is that somebody's not going to be able to pay their mortgage due to their income decrease. So that will definitely affect your transaction, 150%.
All right. Anybody have any other questions for Javi?
Yeah, when is he going to close?
Manny says, when are you going to close?
Those are to warn me when Manny's in the room.
Well, guys, I wanted to keep this short and sweet. I think we don't always have to keep it an hour. I think lending is one of the ones that usually we have a good premise, but it's good to know the things that are hot. Javi, I thank you for your time. I thank for everybody that's joined in. I'm going to record to send it to everybody. A couple of housekeeping. Oh, let me stop the recording here.